Peace and blessings. Welcome back. We will continue reborning Kate. Kate to me again looks like she could make a nice looking boy. So we are going to reborn her into a boy. We are going to continue with some of the undertones and some underpainting. Right now, I'm going to do some um, creasing around the nose and certain areas around the mouth. I'm going to actually use paint to do that as opposed to pencils, the Prism color pencils. I'm going to use um, paint. Now, this particular color that I am using is ultimately going to be the color of the skin in certain areas. So I'm going to, I hope this will show up on camera, but I'm going around the nose. One of the things that is important for me is to go, I like to just build layers very thin and lightly. So I went around the nose. I see that there is a little bit of some black spots. This seems to be common with air dry paints. So it's important to inspect and to get them off so that it doesn't become embedded in your kit. Some things will actually disappear with, additional painting and so on and so forth, but you do want to be mindful of those different things. Now we're going to go into the nose to make sure that the nose also has some coloring. We're careful regarding pooling. We don't want any pooling. Pooling can make our kit look dirty or actually um, not real. So we want everything to look nice and neat. So we're going to go in and we're going to pounce so that we make sure that we do not have any pooling. I'm pouncing with this small brush because it can get into the area the way that I would like it to. I'm going to put a slightly thin line on the crease under the eye to kind of, show a little bit of depth there. And there's a little bit of a crease slightly above the eye. We're going to go ahead and just kind of paint that a little bit as well. And then we are going to pounce. We want to try to stay in the line because this particular area of the face is going to have some highlights. So we don't want to lose that. And we're going to go a little bit in the lips here to try to create a bit of depth. I'm not certain if you're able to see what I'm doing, but I'm going in between the lips to try to show a little bit of separation there between the lips. And we'll just pounce. One of the things that we remember is it's important to pounce and to blend. Blend, 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 blend. It's kind of like, I think about it like makeup. I like makeup, and I actually also make organic eyeshadows and lip gloss and these things like that. So it's important to blend for a natural look on the face. So that's something that I make sure to do when I'm painting these beautiful reborn dolls, is to blend, 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 because you don't want any stark, hard lines anywhere. You want things to kind of flow and just seem effortless. Um, just that you almost don't see the beginning or the ending of a line. You kind of just see that there's a hint, and it begins to create that depth. So, I don't know if you can see. I have to try to figure out something with the lighting. I'm actually, it's the same day, so I'm painting and the sun has gone down. So I do have on my ring light and my daytime overhead lights and like that, but um, you know, I'm doing the best I can with what I have here. Um, I would like to be able to paint also in a little bit more daylight hours so that you'd be able to see a little bit. Now, we always remember that we have to stir our paints because they do separate and settle. I'm going to go in just a little bit, just a tiny bit. Oh, wow, I used the wrong brush. Oops, that's my pouncing brush. It's okay. Um, I'm going to go in because this brush has a little bit of a angle to it, a point. So it makes it easy to get into these small areas. Now we got to pounce this out. We don't want any pooling of any kind. This is just going to darken up what we did earlier with the prism colors. So we can pounce the top of the ear with the sponge. We're going to go in with some depth here again. I'm going to get in there. Okay, that looks good. And I don't know if you can see. Let's see. I don't know if you can see some of the coloring there. I'm not sure, but I can I can see it. uh, okay, so we're gonna do the other ear as well. And then we out. And the pencil has already stained the kit in a very nice way. So this is only darkening it just a little bit more. The reason I didn't go back in with the colored pencil is because certain areas on the kit um, can't get in tightly enough with the pencil, so I don't want it to spill over. I want it to, be a nice natural look with the color. Okay, so we are going ahead with this color. Now, I'm going to go ahead a little bit with some of the other creases, just darkening them up a little bit. We don't want them very dark because then that kind of, um, you know, won't, we want it to complement the ultimate skin tone that we're seeking to achieve. So we kind of went in just here and we're blending that. Okay, we're blending that, blending, blending, blending. I do like the idea of the prism color pencils because it keeps the creases nice and clean. So I like that. Again, I'm just kind of going around certain areas with um, this color here. Like I said, it's ultimately going to be the color of the kid, the skin tone of the kid. So, um, but I just want to, because that's one of the things, if when you're painting, or at least when I'm painting, I like to have a continuity in the colors that are on the kit. Um, and again, blending them in so that that they don't stand out, in a unnatural kind of way. We want everything to look, nice and subtly blended on the kit. Um, as we get more and more um, layers of color, you'll be able to see it a little bit more on camera. I can see it. I don't know, maybe what I might do is take some pictures and maybe I can upload those or share those as well, because you would then possibly be able to see it a little bit more. Possibly, I don't know. I'm looking for, uh, because I see just a little spot that I would like to take care of. I do also have the Q-tips with the point. However, they can leave um, some fibers behind. What I do is I take my Q-tip, dip it in just a little bit of the distilled water, and then I go ahead and remove whatever the little spot, I saw. Now, I do have on my air purifier um, to kind of help out as well. But, these are different things that can happen anyway. Um, I am liking the way the kit is looking. I don't need to go over the limbs, the creasing areas with the limbs with the wet paint. So what I will do is I'm going to pause for a second and get the other paints together. Okay. What I like to do is I like to work with different size brushes to give, because I find that I have more control that way. Now I'm going to go over the hands and the arms. So I want to mix this. This is a beautiful color. It kind of looks like hot cocoa, a little bit, not a little bit, maybe a little bit lighter, but it looks similar to it. Okay. I like to work with the arms. Usually I go the left arm, and then the right, and then the left leg, and then um, the right leg. I generally start with the head first, so I do that so I keep up with what it is I'm doing. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going in. I got a little bit of paint on my hand, and that's not good. Paint on my hand, that can end up in the kit places that we don't want it to be. So let me just make sure. Take care of this brush. Go around the borders of paint jar. I need to start this. The garbage table. Look at my hands. Okay, they're fine. Okay, we're gonna go back. What I do is I like to go with the hands. And when I do the hands, I like to take a smaller brush so that I can get around on the fingers the way that I would like them to be. and I'm going over this kit in most of the areas. Um, you know that with your with you know that you have a different coloring on the side of the hands. It tends to be a little bit lighter. So what I am doing with this particular kit is I'm going to paint all over the kit with this color. Okay, I like to deepen up the colors little by little. Okay, and then um, we will go over with some more coloring. Now I'm focusing on the fingers to get them nicely done, nicely coated with coloring with the paint, because um, that will continue to give a natural look. Okay, so I'm going around all of the kit and even doing the nails. Okay, because the nails do have a little bit of color to them. Our nails do. They're not just a blank color. They do have a little bit of color. And I am going again into the palm of the hand, just a little bit of color, not, it's not going to be very dark, but it's just going to be a little bit of color. And we can, if we need to, we can build it up even more. But what we're doing is just little by little. Again, I like to build up color little by little because it's easier to add color than to try to correct it if it's too dark. And now, doing the back of the hand. Okay, and I'm liking this color. So what I'm going to do is, I did this little bit, so I'm going to pounce. I'm going to pounce everywhere where I just painted. I'm going to pounce there. Make sure that I get everywhere so that there's no pooling or anything like that that would give us an unflattering look. Now I'm going to do the arm. So during the arm, I'm going to use a larger brush. Okay. And I mix the paint. Each time I'm mixing my paint to be sure, and I'm going over. You might can see a little bit of this color now. You might be able to see that. And I like to kind of do sections, do the limbs in sections, um, so that I can pounce off and make sure that I've gotten everywhere I want to get. So this baby is 20-inch, and I'm going to make this baby a boy. I think this kit will look very nice as a boy. I think it will. The kits, most of them can be pretty much whatever gender you would like them to be. Um, it just depends on how you paint them and how you dress them. And of course the hair, that's one of the things too. So I don't want to have too much paint on my brush here. I want to just make sure I have just the right amount of what I consider the right amount, and then we're going to pounce. When I pounce, I like to pounce kind of in a little bit of a circle. So in my mind, it means that I won't have any rough edges, that everything will kind of be softly blended, just softly blended. And I, pounce out my sponge on my paper towel here to get off anything that's excess. You know, yeah, that looks good. You can see a little bit of the color You see the flange, and then you see the skin. So you can see a little bit more of a color change. Again, I like to build it up slowly. And now we're going to go over the fingers with the small brush, the fingernails all over with the small brush. And we're going to do the very same thing with the feet and the toes. Um, I go over and I'm getting everywhere. Again, I'm doing also the palms of the hand because we want a little bit more color in there as well. I have such an enjoyable time when I'm painting, and I see that I do have some views, which is very nice. I hope it's something that that you're enjoying, or maybe you're learning something. Please do leave a comment. I would like to have some engagement with those who are watching. Tell me what you're thinking about this painting, of this reborn, um, and what are you doing? Do you like to paint? Are you a collector? Are you getting into painting? How long have you been painting? Or how long have you been collecting? Do you do both? Yeah, just put it down in the comments below. That'd be nice. We're going to go ahead and do the rest of the hand. And I'm just going to pause it because I don't want to um, wear you out with watching me paint the same thing. We painted all of the limbs. Now we're going to go over the head with the same color. It's like a nutmeg color. Looks almost like hot cocoa or chocolate milk. The consistency is kind of a bit watery. Um, Air dry paint, um, to get the layers to to be nicely translucent. Um, you have it slightly, not very watery, but somewhat watery, not where it's running. Um, I'm going over the entire kit on the face and in the ears, everywhere on the kit. And you always try to make sure that you get all around the neck and around near the border of the flange, because sometimes you may forget that while you're holding the kit, and then come to find out you didn't, paint all of that area. So you want to make sure that you do paint all of that area. So again, we're just going around the whole kit. We're getting in all of the crevices with this color. And we're going to also go back over and do some of the creasing on the face to give additional depth and character onto the face. Um, so this is something that is, helpful for realism. At least I like doing it this way. Um, Found that, it's been beneficial for me in the outcome of that I have created or brought to life, so to speak. So we always want to make sure that we get some color in the nose, because without that, the nose will look very, very blank, kind of stark. I always pounce face first, fuzz. I don't want um, any type of what might be pooling or anything on the face or anywhere on the kit, but especially on the face. And I try to make sure that I go in all of the crevices. Air dry paint, you can, you know, do a few layers in one sitting because it does dry rather quickly. You can do up to 8 layers. I almost don't count those that I did as the modeling or the depth layers. I don't count them completely as layers because they're they're even thinner. And so I count them, but then again, I don't count them as much, Um, I mean, everything matters, you know, because you want to make sure that the layers do dry, and they will dry. Each layer will dry in about, you know, what is it? I think maybe 20 minutes. So kind of by the time you do from the head, then all of the limbs and go back, by then, maybe 20 minutes or so have gone by and then you can do another layer or a coat of paint. Just making sure that I've gotten everywhere around, and I'm just going to go in with my little brush here, kind of pounce around, make sure there's no pulling anywhere. Okay, looks good to me. Yeah, it looks good to me. I know. The only way you can tell is you see the difference in the color, the skin and the flange. Yeah, that's one of the difference in the color. My manicure. These are my own creation, press-on nails. I uploaded some shorts regarding, you know, my press-on nails as well. I am going to do some veining. Uh, Veining is something that I have to continue to work at. So I'm going to start at the back of the head. Veins, and then you have to pounce it out. Veins are squiggly. You can maybe see that. And, you know, they can be, kind of whatever way. And just kind of pounce it out a little bit. Veins are in a sense of weakness for me to be able to do. Um, but when I do them, and someone is close on the kit, on the doll, the completed doll, they always say that the veins. They like, oh, it even has veins. Oh, and they think it looks very realistic. So uh, the main thing is you don't want it to look like pencil marks or magic marker on your kid. So I kind of stay more into where the hair is going to be and somewhat around the temple area. where you might see some hair, some veins peeking out um, beyond the hair. I go light because it's easier to go light again rather than to go dark. And then you kind of almost can't do anything about it. Trying to see if I can get to show up in, well, they're there. They're there. I'm going to go give one a little bit under the ear. This is going to be a boy baby, so there won't be as much hair to cover up the veins, but there will be some hair to cover. So I just want to put a few veins here and there, and for that bit of, some, yeah, I like the way that's looking. I don't often do veins on the ears, but let's try it today. We'll try and see. And then we pounce it. We can always go over the veins, if need be later. We can always do that. Veins, they look good on the kit when they're like like a Y. I'm doing it very light. So if in fact it's not great, it will be covered with hair. So yeah, that'll be nice. I'm going to do some veining on the arms. Okay, just a little bit of veining on the arms. Here on the wrist, there's usually some veins that lead into the palm of the hand. So I usually like to put some there. How I usually like to do that. And then I like to do a brachial artery in here. Not sure how much is going to continue to show because our baby is going to have a bit more of a darker skin tone. We're going to put a vein on the back of the arm. I'm not going to put too many veins, but we will put some. Same thing on the other arm. Similarly, we'll go ahead in the wrist. Now, of course, you don't see veins if there's really a bend in the arm, so you don't really see them there. But we'll put just a little bit. And you also have veins on the back of the hand, kind of in between all of the fingers. So I do put some there as well. And our darling Lillian is here with us. She is watching us paint. She's so adorable. She is so adorable. So adorable. And you will go brachial artery. Again, on this arm. I put the veins in similar places on the arms, but not exactly the same, but in some similar places. And them being very faint is very good because you can darken them up if you need to. There's usually one on the thumb, around the thumb area there. Okay. I'm going to go back over the other hand because I didn't put any on the back of the hand, and there are usually veins that are there between the fingers. So we want to do that. And the other thing about kits is that you can see some areas where the sculptor maybe made some areas that are high or a little bit lower with some kind of indentations. And you can, kind of highlight those areas in certain ways. And I'll kind of go over that as well. I hope you are enjoying this series. I am enjoying it. I enjoy watching, other artists, do series of, you know, painting reborns. I really enjoy that a lot. And I hope that others will enjoy what I'm doing as well. I hope so. I hope it can be beneficial, not just relaxing or informative, but it can be beneficial. So, okay, so we have a few veins, and they're just going to kind of peek through a little bit um, from the skin tone, under the skin, just a little peek here and there. Okay, and I'm going to do the foot down. Now, here on the heels of the foot, usually you do see veins, on a baby's foot. So I usually like to get that in there. And on the medial side of the foot, you always see some veins going down into the sole. Some kits, you may see them sculpted where you can kind of see where a vein could go. So they often are kind of like around that, like I said, that medial, going into the insole of the foot, the instep, and then lateral, on the outside, you'll see some veins. Ooh, got a little bit too much there. Okay, it's all right. And just kind of see them a little bit here and there. And again, the skin tone is going to cover some of it, but you will see a bit. Same thing a little bit on the top of the foot around the toes. You maybe see a few veins. And you may see some on the back of the leg, calf. You may see some on the very front of the leg on the shin area. I try to make them, a little bit different, not all exactly the same design, but what can I say? Some of them, they do look the same. But, I am trying, I am learning. Yeah, veins are something that are a little bit of a challenge for me to paint. But I keep trying. I keep trying. I keep trying. So, and actually, once they're all done, they do tend to look, they do tend to look good. Oftentimes we're most critical of ourselves. Just gonna go here on this foot here. Bounce. Okay, go inside again. A little bit on the top, the toes. Just a little bit. Then on the lateral side of the foot, the outside, there's usually a lot of veins that you do see going to the sole of the foot. Usually you do see that. Might see something on the toe as well. So I just make a few and make a little bit on this shin. And the back of this leg. And lateral part of the leg. And the medial part here. And then again, they will peek through the skin. So, here and there. They'll peek through ever so nicely. While we have the blue out, since this is a 20-inch baby, a newborn baby, oftentimes you may see a little bit of blue here because the skin is a little bit thin. So I'm going to just put that a little bit in the crease of the eyes. Just a little bit to give that illusion that the skin is a little bit thinner there. I'm going slightly above where I did the shading, the creasing. I'm gonna just pounce a little bit. I don't want it to be too blue, but I'm just gonna have it just a little bit blue. Just a little bit. This part of the eyes. This part. And then we'll put just a little bit in the nose. We always want to get some coloring in the nose. Always. The nose doesn't look undone. Because we have to do whatever we can to try to create depth. Now in the ears, I like to give the illusion of some thin skin. So I put a little bit of the blue on that cartilage part of the ear. That inner part a little bit, where there may be a little bit of thin skin. I just like to do it. The other thing too is to look at some pictures online, or look at babies that you see in person, your own children or grandchildren or children, friends' children, just kind of look and you can get a little bit of an idea. Definitely go online and take a look. Pinterest is great for seeing, babies and different things like that. So I think this might be all of the blue that I really want to put on the face of the baby right now. Just want to make sure it's not too much, and I want to pound it out so that it's not too much. But we do want some. I don't know if you're able to see it. Let me cover up my paint. I don't know if you can see. I think you can. I think you can see a little bit of the blue coloring. Brush in the distilled water. And so we got some of that done, which I think baby is coming along quite nicely. Gonna do a little bit more shading around the nose. Because we do want to build that coloring up. Now the thing with the nose is we want to also put a little bit, not just in the crease, but on the nose. We want a little bit of that dark too, to build up that coloring, because that is often seen in melanated or ethnic or African American, babies. Going in the nose too to get darker, and then we're going to pounce around. Again, I like to do certain things so that they can appear under a little bit, and I like the way that looks. Gonna do a little bit in between the lips to kind of give illusion, a little bit of depth in there, just a little bit, just to show a little bit of separation. We don't want it to be too dark in there, but we do want to just show a little bit of separation there. And because the lips are going to have some color. Excuse me. So we want to just kind of go around a little bit. And we're going to begin to work on the outline of the lips, building up the color of the lips little by little. That's one of the things that, um, you know, I don't wait until the end. I work on the lips and the nails pretty much from the beginning, so I can see what the baby is looking like, what the baby needs. And in a sense, the baby can begin to tell me more of what is needed. Now, if you can see a little definition in the lips, in between the lips. Now, I want to also do a little bit around the eyes. Not over with, we just did the blue. No, that's not dry yet. However, we can go back in the folds under the eye. We can definitely do that because we want to build that up a little bit as well. A little bit more. Oh my, I didn't realize the video was this long. Okay, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just finish this little bit, and then I'm going to end the video and come back with part 3. And that's what we'll do. We'll come back with part 3. Well, thank you so much for following this paint with me or watch me paint. um, I am having a lot of fun doing this, and I really do hope that you are enjoying it as well. Please enjoy your day. If you are painting, happy painting. If you are watching, I'm grateful that you are here watching, and that I do hope that you will come back, that you would like, comment, and share. And just give you a little peek of some of that creasing, shadowing. You can maybe see a little bit. See you the next time. Thank you for being here. Enjoy your day. Lillian says, see you later. Bye now.